But they got rid of and have some new people that came in, and they're trying to. No.
What exactly
I ain't say
happened?
nothing. I ain't,
There was a pastor at the church that had some sexual allegations. I don't know if it was assault. I don't know to what degree.
There was
anyway,
a video.
Okay, so there was a video of it.
Yeah.
It was a big deal in Atlanta. Anyway, that guy's gone, and they have a new
That guy's
pastor.
dead.
Oh, dead. Okay,
Yeah,
gone.
he's dead.
So he's really gone. They have a new pastor.
I thought it was over some money situation.
Well, no,
There's
that's
probably a little bit of that in there too.
Right.
But that's also what fell. So you go to support Kanye, and then it came out later that the church, while you were there, was trying to get you to give some money. What actually happened?
Look, man, I don't want to blame it on the church too much per se because I didn't witness that from the pastor of the church. But you know how church have like guest pastors to come preach? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know what I'm saying? The collection buckets had already been passed around.
Emphasis not on plate, but bucket.
Yeah, the white paint kind.
The big one.
Yeah, the white paint
Gotcha.
buckets.
Yep.
Whoa,
Deep. They're
okay.
deep.
Yeah, the car
Hold a
wash
lot of
buckets.
money.
The car
Yeah,
wash
sure.
They're
buckets.
trying to fill it up.
Okay.
Hey, man, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't want to be
I've never seen
presumptuous.
that before.
I don't want to be presumptuous. I'm only stating the facts.
I've seen a plate. I've never seen a bucket.
Listen, man, they had a bucket, man. Let the man finish his story.
So,
Fine.
so the buckets were passed around before Chains and I took our seats in the front row. There was seats saved for us in the front row. And as I walked down the aisle, I walked past JD, Bow Wow, Yachty, Coach, Brian Barber. You know what I'm saying? A few.
Who's who of Atlanta hip hop?
Yeah, it was. And Killer Mike was across the way, which I didn't know until he hit me. My son, Demani, was across the way, which will get funny later. But anyway. So as we sit down, the pastor of that church is up there, and he's talking, I think giving announcements or something. And then he says, but now we're going to get to a special sermon. And I was like, oh, okay. He got to be talking about Sunday service. Cool. And he says, all the way from Houston. I'm like, Kanye came from Houston? And then he says, whatever dude name was, and brought the other pastor out there. And I can't remember this pastor name, but he must have been the tithe whisperer. His entire sermon was about sacrifice, giving money. Now, listen, I understand that churches live off of the contributions from the congregation. I get that. But to bring this, like for this guy to come out and have this particular sermon about sacrifice and go so far as to tell stories of when he was in the place of, where he had to give his last 5 figures or $10,000, however many dollars, to cover the deficit of the budget for a church, and he didn't want to do it. But he said that when he got the notion to do it, you can't think about it. You got to just do it. And so, that's what he did. But then he said, what I need right now, I need 20 people to give up $1,000. Let's count. 20 people. Stand up if you. And so people start standing up.
Are you $1,000?
Yeah, that's what they said. 20 people.
20 people $1,000.
Yeah, I'm looking around.
Never seen this before.
And at this point, I see it. I know exactly what's going on. And
I was looking at you like this.
I love this man.
You know what I'm saying? Because I see what's going on, and I can't believe everybody's going for it.
My God.
I can't believe. I'm telling Chains, you better not. And he's like, what? Chains like, man, I go to church. This is what I do. I'm like, hey, listen, man. Well, give me 100. You know what I'm saying?
So he stood up.
No.
Okay.
Chains didn't stand up. He, I think he very, discreetly slid whatever he thought was appropriate. And my wife, she going in her pockets. I say, you better not. Zip it. Zip it right now. And I mean, for real though, I mean, you know what I'm saying? We have since I spoke to the pastor of that particular church, and he understands where I'm coming from. And he thought that, he could have dealt with it a little differently, and he saw the error in the way of that particular decision. But I don't want to be too critical of the overall, because I know so many black people, they depend on that Sunday inspiration, and they think it get. But the problem I had with the guy, this is it. When he was counting the 20 for the $1,000 for people, when he said this is when I really got mad. Come on, y'all, get your blessings heard.
No.
Are you telling me
Fam.
Keep
that
going.
my God
Yep.
needs me to pay you $1,000 so he can hear my blessings? So he
Now-
can hear my prayers?
Now y'all know that's how the Vatican was built.
Yeah, man. But see, that's
This
what I'm
is
saying.
this has plagued many churches for a long time.
But yeah, like that to me, like I'm like, all right, bro, you done lost me. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. For one, I'm walking in here
Crazy.
already with a preconceived notion of what religion is and what it's meant to do to a large group of people. I already know what it's for. So, but I'm having an open mind. You dig what I'm saying? I'm here to see Kanye. I'm here to see Sunday service. So, you know what I'm saying? But when I sat down, it's like all of my beliefs were confirmed. You dig what I'm saying?
Now, do you believe? Do you believe Kanye's genuine in his journey for spirituality?
Yeah, I have no reason not to believe it. And even more so, it felt good to see him in such a stable place. You dig what I'm saying?
Because you had seen him in another place.
Yeah. He was just, he was just doing shit before, Now I feel like, you know what I'm saying, he's moving with a purpose.
And this is one of the great things I always feel about religion, whether you are skeptical of, like what you said, how religion has been weaponized before.
Sure.
I do firmly believe that it is phenomenal for many people to have that spiritual focus.
It's transformational. You know what I'm saying?
Do you how do you feel about him selling the expensive merch and all of these things associated with?
I don't care. I mean, I think that, to be honest with you, Kanye is an artist, so that means he distributes art for a living. Now, if his art is motivated and inspired by his spiritual connection, and that's like, these are the things that come with his art, and his art is for sale, I don't think that it's wrong that he puts, like, that's his truth. You know what I mean? He's sharing his present experience, and
you can contribute to that. If you feel
but you getting something. You are receiving something for it. If you think, man, I ain't finna pay no $500 for no hoodie, then all right, cool, don't pay it. But if you want that hoodie, you gonna pay what he asked you to pay for that hoodie. It's a conscious decision that one must make. He's not putting no gun to nobody's head and telling them they better do this. If you know what I mean? If you agree with him to that point, or you think that you just got to have, if you such a hype beast that you want that $500 hoodie, then go on and buy it.
And the same thing goes for the tithes at a church or whatever. If you feel like you want to contribute that because you received something.
Yeah, sure.
So can you
I
explain
guess.
to me? Because, okay, I'm not going to go to a Sunday service ever.
Why?
One of Kanye's Sunday service, because I'm not interested. But, so people are
The
going to
music
this
is
church.
dope, though.
No, but listen, so people go to church,
Yeah.
usual church
Well, see,
goers,
but
right?
it's not usually in a church, and that's the thing that I felt was kind of weird and off-putting. It's usually like out in the woods and stuff, like in a field. You know what I
Because
mean?
it is interesting that he's choosing churches, because he did it here in Jamaica, Queens. Also, it was in a church, right? Yeah. So mass is going on, and all of a sudden he's like the special guest.
Sure.
And then he breaks into his songs. Am I correct?
Right. Yeah.
That's what happens?
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then it turns into like a concert of sorts,
Kinda. A little bit.
including some of his classic hits. Does he talk about bleaching assholes when he's in the church, or no?
Well,
Stop,
no,
come on.
listen, there
what songs
there
is he
are
singing?
amended versions. There are
edited
amended,
Church mix.
they change the word. They do all kinds of songs and change the words to them.
They're doing R&B records. And
Yeah,
changing
they do
them to
R&B records
more
and change the
yeah.
words to them to speak to God. Hey man, look man, I don't know, bro. I don't think it's even fit for me to judge on
Well,
things
no, you can like
that.
it or dislike it.
I mean, I think it
That's fair.
I think it's a positive energy.
Yeah,
You dig what I'm
that's good.
saying?
Yeah, that's
I think
fine.
it's a disbursement of positive energy. And that's all I can really say about it. And I don't hold him to the same standards as I would someone who puts pastor, reverend, bishop, or something like that. Or
Because they're
reverend
already, you're
in front of their
presuming
name.
some level of spiritual responsibility when you
Spiritual
put that stuff.
responsibility, authority, and you dig what I'm saying? Like
Morals.
Like just like you expect a teacher to be smart, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We certainly expect the teacher to have the interest of the student in mind.
But what I'm trying to say is, if you are a teacher of math, I expect you to have the right answer. And that's because you are a teacher. You put yourself in that position to where you are the authority on the matter now. Okay, so I'm holding you to a high, like a policeman. I expect for a policeman to live within the law.
That's right.
But
dig
in
what
the
I'm
case
saying?
of the pastor, for example,
Right.
why I would say it's more about expecting the teacher to not only know the right answer, but to want to give you the right answer.
Absolutely.
That
Help you
pastor,
find the right
That
answer,
pastor
right.
knew the truth. But what he was more interested in was getting people's money so they could hear the truth. That's the part to me where I have a real disconnect.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you hear all this, you can imagine why this man's podcast would be so successful.
Well, I just think
this is enjoyable.
I honestly just think you got to have your own personal connection. If you depending on somebody else to get you your connection with God or to connect you to God, that's where you're gonna be lost. You know what I mean?
That's
So I
fair.
think a lot of people.
Anytime there's a middleman in between you and your destination,
Absolutely.
you could pretty much.
You gonna pay him. That's it. You gonna pay him. You know what I mean? And I don't need no middleman to get my. And honestly, like, God speaks to people in His own way at His own time. You don't go to no particular building. I think in the Bible it say that God will not be found in man-made structures.
It does say something like that
You dig what I'm saying?
in one of the books.
You know what I mean? So, and that's another thing. Which Bible are we? Is God's word?
Here we go, man. Come on.
Is God's word everlasting?
Well, these are the words that were delivered and put on paper
What I'm
from
saying.
individuals, human beings that claim that they had access.
In the Christian community, is it not assumed, believed, and stated that God's word is everlasting? Is it not?
That's correct, I believe.
Okay. So how you gonna go in here and change the words? How do you change the words in a book that are supposed to be God's words and they're supposed to be everlasting, but you can justify changing the words over and over and over again to suit society?
Well, even before you get to that, you got to understand, and then we're going to jump off this because I'm going to let people go ahead and find it for themselves. Just look up the Council of Nicaea, which was a meeting of all of the most powerful religious individuals in Europe who decided which books would be in the version that most of y'all are reading anyway.
You see, that's why I can't go with that. I can't go for that. And that's the thing. If whatever you call me for that, man, then that's what I am. But I can't go for that, man. You can't piss on my head and call it no rain. You dig what I'm saying? I understand that. And this is when I learned this, like, and this is very, 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 it's small in the scope of things. And I'm sure if you look hard enough, you could find your own examples of this. But, you know, when you got your wedding vows, you're getting married, right? And me and my wife had a joke about this. When you're getting married, it used to say love, honor, and obey. It no longer says that. Now, okay, not to say that I want my wife to obey me or that I would expect her to obey me any more than she should expect me to obey her. But how are you going to change this? How you going to change this? If God's word is everlasting, we supposed to kind of fit into an acceptable version of what the word already says and not change the word to be acceptable to what we feel it should be.
In theory, yes.
Because if that is the case, then this whole book I would turn the whole book over. Like, what are we doing? I mean, but, you know.
I mean, you're talking in absolutes, and people evolve. And I don't disagree with nothing you're saying.
But that's just why you can't play along with the whole
I
thing.
can't go with it.
So
I can't take it seriously. I can't really take it seriously at this point. You know what I'm saying? You tell me God word
you do believe in
everlasting,
God.
then you
You
go
do
and
believe in
change your
God.
words. Of
You
course
do.
I do. Of course I do. I know God is real, but that's because of personal experiences that I've seen him.
But sometimes,
and
and I
his
wanted
hand,
you to clarify that because some
Yeah.
people will interpret
Nah,
Not
nah,
believing in the
nah.
books.
Right.
not believing
Nah.
in books or not.
I don't believe in religion. God is real. And I know God is real because I've seen him have an effect in my life. I've been in cars that were shot up and it's holes where my head was. And I wasn't shot. That couldn't be nothing but God. You dig what I'm saying? I know God had a hand in my life because there's no way that I could come from where I was in life, end up right here where I am, through all the trials and tribulations and shit that I made it through without the universe having a hand in it. You know what I mean? I believe God is energy, and I also believe that, the voice of God, like you'll never get closer to the voice of God than hearing your own voice in your head. You know what I mean? If God gonna talk to you, he not gonna talk to you like a white man talking down a long hallway. You know what I mean? He gonna talk to you in the most familiar voice that you know. You know what I mean? The most comfortable voice that you had, and that's yours.